to the Homeboys, second of a week, and obviously I'm no Joe. We've different lineup today. Once again, from sunny Wishaw, I've got my pal, Jason. Well, how are you, pal?
I'm good, Scott. Right, mate. Hail.
Two in a week, yeah?
2 in a week.
Hell.
I know.
We should be doing a Patreon, man.
That's it. Folks should be paying us for this.
And I'm glad to welcome back Brian to the show. Now, Brian kind of done a wee one-to-one with me a while ago, and we spoke about his career. And he's been on a couple of times recently, and actually speaking some sense on the pod. So, Brian, how are you, pal?
I'm absolutely fantastic, mate. Good. How are you guys? He's doing well.
Good to get a bit of sense on the pod.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about sense. I'm not sure about that. I'll try my best, but I'll try my best.
Who's going to do the analogies, Jason? Who's going to do the absolute shit?
I know. Well, that's Joe. We'll just carry on.
Right. So, as I said, second one of the week, we were on Monday. Me and Jason have kind of, I think, what is it? We've buried the ghost of Wilfried Nancy. But, Brian, I'd spoke to you coming on a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Just before Christmas. Right. And it was after the cup final, in fact. And I was looking to get your opinion as kind of ex-pro. You're still kind of touching in the game and new and stuff. Mm-hmm. And just your opinion, how you're seeing it. Now, I'll fling this one up, Brian, just in case you see this. Look, so... there
you go.
No, see it.
Guy played me at St Rocks.
Oh, right, aye, that's right, aye.
David Black,
David Black, that's right, aye.
Go and call him a prick.
No, not at all. He's a good guy.
That didn't mean anything, man. This is calling me a prick. Aye, so I kind of wanted to get your opinion. I wanted to get your opinion on like the formation and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So for the next wee bit, obviously me and Jason will kind of weigh in with me, but I want to hear your opinions, mate. Now, you were at the cup final, and obviously that being the time that you've watched all the games, if you've not been to them. But so I've got a few questions for you, right? But obviously you can just kind of go in your usual tangent. But what did you think when we appointed him? What was your initial thoughts after the first couple of games? Cup final, what was your thoughts? And then eventually when it all collapsed and he left and all that, your thoughts on that. So it's just everything that happened. Let us go for it.
Go for it. Well, when he first got appointed, I think everybody was probably the same. I think we were all a bit surprised because his name sort of comes from nowhere, doesn't it? But in the same sort of breath, you sort of look back on Ange and you say, well, sort of Ange came from nowhere and look how sort of he turned out. When he started chatting about the formation, and there was a bit of chat before he started that he played the free to back, I'm always very sort of dubious about playing free to back, and the reason for that is you need specific players to do that. And especially your two sort of wide centre halves and your two wing backs are your probably most important players in that formation. And at that time you sort of just didn't see it. But obviously at that point Celtic were playing really well. It's under Martin O'Neill. They were sort of back to basics. They were playing like a 4-2-3-1. They were getting boys in the box. They were scoring goals. They were tight at the back. So you're saying surely the manager will come in and he won't sort of fully change it. So I think I was surprised when the manager first came in. I think that was the main bit you're sort of looking at. Then you look at his CV and you're saying, right, he's not exactly coming from a background where he's got high intensity games. He knows that he has to win every single game. He's not got that sort of culture. But again, you're saying, well, he's worked with Thierry Henry. He's got a bit of knowledge for America. It's maybe his players he can pick up. See when the very first game against Hearts, see when he named the team and he shaped up. Because I was watching, because it was on television, I was watching the host. I was amazed that he went at free to back in that very first game. I was absolutely baffled that he went to free to back, and that was after 5 minutes. I'm saying, I can't believe he's doing this, because why have you made such a change in the very first game? And I appreciate,
especially with 2 days training.
The 2 days training, and the bit that baffled me was, why would you change something? Because it's a lot of his language that he was saying is, I will get there and we'll fix it, but Celtic weren't broken at that point, because Martin O'Neill had got them into a good place, so he was trying to fix something that wasn't broke. So why do you try to sort of implement your principles of getting the ball forward, getting more balls into the box, getting bodies into the box? with a 4 at the back, and slowly but surely try to build the 3 in. So after the first game, I was like, I can't believe he's done this. This looks really, really bad. But you knew the thing that you always get with 3 at the back is you always create chances, but a lot of the time you always give away chances because every team knows how to target a 3 at the back, and what they do is they try and sort of play down the side of you. So Hearts that game, Braga and Shankland, and eventually in the second half they pushed a third person up wide and they just played down the sides, and that's why they kept getting in all the time. So again, I was amazed that they changed. For me, the old saying about changing a winning formula, you never change a winning formula.
Yeah.
It was working. Why?
See to the point as well. 2 domestic goals we conceded in both our penalties. Both penalties. We hadn't conceded a domestic goal in Martin O'Neill's 8 games for open play.
But see if you think about it, see that first game. It was the first game where they played. It was Trusty right centre half, Scales in the middle, and Tierney left centre half. And you're like, he's played 3 left footers as the centre halves, and you're like, that's probably never happened in football at any level.
But right. So Brian, I'm kind of going to bring you back to go forward on that first. Right, so see formation wise, right? As a pro, right? Mm-hmm. So I played fucking low end amateur, and I always talk about it. You know yourself. See if you've got a really fast winger, fullback, who likes to push on. He's almost playing fullback, wing back, because he's like Tavernier or Tavernier, right? Whatever one. The way they play, people say, you might as well just play him right wing. And I go, but no, he's played football with the game in front of him his whole life. Now, if you put him up there with the game behind him, it makes him so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So, for a pro, right, and we all think because these guys get paid a big load of dough to do in this profession, it's gone for the 4-3-3 to a 3-4-3, even if it's a traditional 3 at the back rather than this fucking attacking mental, which will come to. How much a fuck up is that? And then to touch on your point you just said there. Now, I think 2 left footed centre halves is one thing, 2 right footed centre halves another thing. I don't think it's necessarily as mental because you're always attacking the ball with your leading foot. Mm-hmm. But in this formation, 3 left sided centre halves to do what they were supposed to do is so fucked up. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the way I saw it. So just if you could kind of educate us on that.
See, so obviously, if you think about it, if it's a traditional 3 at the back, right, where you would have 3 centre halves who would be there to sort of win their headers, dominate, and sort of basically stay in their own half. And what that allows is then your 2 fullbacks can sort of push up the park, and you're free in your midfield. At least two of them can sort of push on, and you've got 2 up front. But what he was trying to do, he was trying to create overloads in wide areas. So your left centre half, for example, Tierney, he was then sort of pushing into sort of the left wing back area. Then the left wing back's pushing into like it's an inside left sort of area. But what that then does, it sort of exposes your other 2 centre halves, because your other 2 centre halves are no sure, right? Do I stay in this position or do I have to shuttle across?
Which we saw 100% in Livingston.
Yeah, so they weren't sure, am I supposed to go in? So they're caught in between, and see as a football player, see as soon as you're having to think about where you have to be, you're done. As soon as you have to think, all right, where should I be? That's it, you're done. But see if you think a back 4, see if you're playing a back 4 all the time, and the reason we keep talking about back 4s is all the boys will be brought up on a back 4. They probably went through their youth level as a back 4. They probably went through all their academies as a back 4. And they've probably played the vast majority of their games as a back 4. So if you think, we'll use Trusty as an example. When Trusty's playing centre half, if you just stood him still and told him to shut his eyes and say, where's Scales? Because he's your left centre half. And where's Ralston? Because he's your right back. He could probably tell you the distances that they 2 boys are from where the boys in the park and where the other players are, because he's that used to knowing that sort of shape. Whereas when you go into the back 3, as soon as you start having to think about, right, where should I be? And it was most apparent, as in the Livingston game, it was, I think it was the second goal, where Yang runs in and leaves his man at the edge of the box to try and cover Ralston, because Ralston's not seen the boy behind him because he's not used to the boy being there, and it's a boy edge of the box that scores, and that's just 2 wee occasions where it's no boys that are not trying, but they're over trying because they're overthinking it. They're overthinking where they should be, and all that has to come from their training ground. And again, you go back to the decision of changing to a back three after the first game. We only 2 training sessions. That sort of thing should have been done at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Where you ideally you go through shape, you go through passages of play, and you say, right, you start working on your distances, right? If the ball's on this bit of the park, it's where's the right centre half, where's the middle centre half, where's the left centre half. If the left centre half goes forward, right, are used to or shuttling across. All those sort of things are sort of bedded in at the very start. Whereas you could see the boys were overthinking it. And the one I felt sorry for most was Scales, because Scales was getting put into areas with the ball that he was obviously not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And again, that's a difference as well, because if Scales is playing left centre half, or even at the times that Scales plays left back, a lot of the time what he does is just gives it to the left winger and goes, right, go and you do something, and just sort of sits behind him. But the Scales was being encouraged to sort of run up the wing with the left ball, with the ball, but he didn't want to. The boy doesn't want to do that, and he could tell it was affecting his confidence. And more he was being asked to do it, the more he's getting into shell. He's playing safer. Then when he starts playing even more safer, he's going back to park. Then once Celtic start going back to park, then the other teams start going higher and higher and higher. So it's got a knock-on effect. But it's that thing about when you play football, when you just play off the cuff, that's when it's most natural. And that's when you can tell that boys are just comfortable and they're just playing. Whereas as soon as you have to start thinking about it, it's gone. And that's where it was most apparent at the St Mirren game, the cup final. I was sitting quite close to the St Mirren dugout. So see if obviously Celtic lost a goal quite early. So I'm there. I was there with another Scottish League manager. So the two of us are sitting watching the game, and I always like to sort of ask questions to one of the boys, and we're querying different things. So after about 15 minutes into the game, you can see the St Mirren manager, he's turning round to his bench and saying, it's man for man at the back. So Celtic are pressing forward. I think it was Ralston's pushing forward up to the right wing, but Tierney's pushing forward up to the left wing, and Trusty's man for man at the back, with the nearest defender probably a good 15, 20 yards. And you can see the St Mirren manager turning round to his bench going, it's man for man at the back. And they're all amazed at this, right? Because you never see it. So all they're doing is shouting on to their defenders saying, just clip it up to the forward, because Big Trusty can't go in and try and win it, because if he doesn't win it, then the guy's got to run in and goals. So then Trusty has to back half. So then the big guy was just holding in and turning them, he was getting a foul. Then St Mirren were getting up the park. So even when you've got the three at the back, you can't leave yourself that exposed where one long ball up the park is getting everybody 30, 40 yards up the park. And that's, again, the thing for me was being very naive, Nancy. And I think, for me, his advisors or his agent or whoever it was, I've done him a kipper, because they should have been speaking to him before he came in and said, you have to win every game. And see, after the first game he gets beat, he should have been going, right, I'm going to have to change something here. Whereas he just persevered with it. But he persevered with even further pushing everybody forward. And you're leaving yourself so exposed. But in a normal back three, you would never do that. In a normal back three, if you were playing with a normal 3 centre halves, at least 2 of them would always stay there. And the defender where the ball was on that side, you would sort of edge forward. And we were talking about it earlier, if we go back to the sort of Brendan Rodgers first era, sort of Celtic done that to an extent with Tierney, because Tierney would play in a back 4 at left back, he would push forward, and Big Lustig would just tuck in. And it would be a back 3. Then once the ball would go to the right hand side, then Big Lustig would sort of push forward again. But they just didn't have that sort of discipline. And again, it goes back to, that's the sort of thing that you need to do in the training ground, about your distances, where your 2 sort of wide centre halves are, where your wing backs are, how far up the park. It was just, you could see there's so many boys, it just wasn't natural to them at all.
It's interesting you say that, because somebody like myself that's never played football at any level, right? I watch it constantly, right? But it was interesting you said about, because the thing, I've been using it as well, and loads of others, like, these are professional players, they should be able to adapt. But you're saying it's totally difficult, and it's like, it has to be trained into you. And it doesn't matter how good you are, but if you're took out your comfort zone, and you're not at the right place in the park where you're comfortable in playing, you don't know where your comrades are at each side of you, then it's just a fucking disaster.
Jason, we spoke about it in the past, and it was I think it was a guy called Chael Sonnen. I listened to a good while ago, and he was like a UFC fighter, and he says he was talking about stress on the body, stress in your head, and he says stress can physically exhaust you. He says you could be the fittest guy ever, but if you're worried about something or you're not comfortable in something, your body and your head stresses out and it exhausts you. And imagine you're playing football, as Brian says, and this team's under pressure anyway. Do you know what I mean? Martin O'Neill's come in and he's almost like been a pressure gauge, and he's went and he's released all that stress. But I mean, when Nancy came in, there was almost a bit of, well, I'm glad he's come in because the performances have been shit. So something was going to give. At least we've got this coming in. But as Brian rightly says, imagine, I mean, see 3-4-3. I've never seen it before. I've seen 3-5-2.
Nice.
And I mean, I have never seen 3-4-3 until, as we spoke about it, Brian, was the Sheffield United team. And I was telling you, I never even watched it. I just heard they were doing this overlapping fullback, centre halves. So I've never seen it. So I can imagine that the vast majority of our players have never they might have played three at the back, but they've done it in a defensive three, or maybe they've done it as wing backs. Like I know Ireland played with three, and Shamrock Rovers played with three, and the big man, Big Scales, was a wing back. And you know yourself, a wing back with three defenders is a totally different game for being that wing centre half guy where there's fuck all
back and the central defender.
Exactly. And everybody
see the situation with Scales, it was breaking forward into the left wing. See if you think about the distances that he's running. Right? So he runs the same distance as he would if he played left centre half, but he's having to maybe run 10 to 15 sort of 60-yard runs back apart or forward. Whereas when he's playing centre half as a back four, he'll maybe run the same distance, but it's all short, sharp runs. So even your type of runs that the guys were making is totally different. So their fitness and stamina and mindset is different. But if you say to Scales, right, do 20 shuttles across the penalty box and dive in and get back up and win a header and slide, he could do that all day. But if you say I'm going to run 10, 60 yarders with the ball, he'll be like, jeez, man, I'm sharp.
Yeah.
So
I laugh when you say that. Do you remember fucking back in your day when Didi Ragat turned up to Celtic? And you watched Didi Ragat and he got the ball and he ran up the park and he got a lot across it. But see if the ball ended up back, everybody's screaming, get back. And you're sitting going, he's just bailed away up that fucking park.
60 yarder. He's like, thanks for that. Just get me back.
Everybody's like, get back. You're like, fuck's sake, man.
The one as well, see with Tierney, because he keeps speaking about how Tierney played left centre half for Scotland. But then you have to go, right, so Tierney's played, what, I don't know, between Scotland, Celtic, Arsenal, Celtic, what, about 300 games?
Aye.
Say something in that region. He's played left centre half with Scotland for, I don't know, about 15 games maybe? Say maybe 20 games. So it's less than 10% of the games that Tierney's played, that he's played left centre half. But everybody was like, but Tierney's played left centre half, but you're like, but it's 90% of the games he's played left fullback as a four. But you've got 10% of the games he's maybe played with Scotland. And even then, when him and Robertson played there, if he went forward, then Robertson just went in to play left centre half because it was he could do it. He was a defender. If he's doing it and it's Yang that's playing left centre half, it's playing a left wing back. Yang's will get that mindset to go right. I'll tuck in.
Exactly. Aye.
I'll tuck in and go and play left centre half. So that's what it's just the formation. Just it didn't have the people to play formation. I'm sure you'll have probably said this over and over again. Everybody say that it just didn't have the formation. Then he was getting outdone in games as well, and I think that's a bit that sort of frustrated everybody. Is you can always start with the wrong formation or you start with the wrong team, but then you change it, and that's where managers sort of earn the crust. And he just wasn't seeing the changes. And if you look at the Rangers game, it was a fine example. Sort of Rangers pinned Celtic's two wing backs back to park, and he didn't change it. So you have to change either the formation, or you change the style, or you tell Schmeichel to start going long so we can try and play in their half. That's where he failed, and that's eventually why he got sacked, because he got outdone in the Motherwell game and he got outdone in the Rangers game. Well,
the Motherwell game I think the Motherwell game is a total outlier in terms of Motherwell destroyed us.
Destroyed us. Absolutely skilled.
Nobody else destroyed us, but Motherwell destroyed us.
Oh, totally. I've got sympathy for him at the Rangers game, but I've watched it back, and the chances we missed were unbelievable. Mm-hmm. You know, we had like 7 glorious chances. You know, the game should have been out of sight. And even you think back to the Hearts game as well, there is a bit, Amy Hinks, he's been a bit unlucky because he's no them that put the ball on the net. Aye. But as you go for the defensive side, he's been so naive and just terrible. You know, but going forward, there is a bit in the Hinks. He was a bit unlucky because if we converted most of our chances, we're never going to convert most of our chances. But if we'd put in, say, half our chances that we had, he'd probably still be in a job now, which probably would be shite for us. Because
the thing that frustrates me, it doesn't frustrate me in the slightest, isn't it? Fucking, it just kind of confused. So my pal Stu, who I think Beatties have met, Stu was like, you could see the good things that was coming for it. Now, and we were talking again, because you are fucking overwhelming the opposition with the amount of bodies you've got in their half and the amount of bodies, that one-touch football was looking great because you had all these options to kind of knock on and go and stuff. But I think Celtic, with the players we've got, have got that in us at every game, under anybody. So I'm not really giving him the credit.
No, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, definitely he's unlucky because our board decided that we don't need to play centre forwards. You know what I mean? I don't know why we didn't get fucking Craig Levein as a manager, fuck's sake. But with regards to defensive, I'm naturally a defensive type Heeds anyway, just because of the way I played football and what I enjoyed when I was growing up and stuff like that. You've got to play, but who mentioned the Huns game there?
Me.
If he'd any sense in him, he'd have went, right, how did we beat them in the semi-final? And we were turning them about. But again, he'll go, well, fucking using my football, we should have battered them. And I mean, so I did, but it was done. It was done. Brian, we went to Aberdeen game and I ended up with Jason after the game. And obviously we've won 3-1 and we could have won that game 10-1 the way it was going, right? But I remained unimpressed with it because I saw the weaknesses, and me and Jason had a bit of an argument about it. You know what I mean? We're like, he's like, that was brilliant. I was like, fucking rotten. You know what I mean?
I know.
But I mean, in summary though, it definitely does come down to the time, and to bring in somebody that, what's the word? I mean, I don't want to go with arrogant, steadfast, sure in himself.
I think arrogance fair. Because he just wasn't interested in changing it, as Brian said. I mean, any manager worth their salt, even after the second game, you know.
I don't mean so much. Everyone has agreed with Brian in terms of coming in and trying to implement this system straight away. When these players aren't good enough to play the system we're giving them at times, to then say, well, throw that on a bin, this is what we're going to do now, seems madness. But he's that was the scariest part for me, was we were getting turned over by Jim Goodwin. We were getting turned. They were watching a game and seeing a basic thing again that we're all seeing, and they didn't either have the ability or the attitude to change it. I mean, if you're the best team by a stretch in Scotland, we spoke about this, Jason, you can maybe get away with such a brazen attitude, but we've been shit this whole season. So, and the only reason you're a Celtic manager is because we've fucking failed. We've not brought you in because we thought, by the way, you're an upgrade on what we can do. You know what I mean? But it's funny, since Monday, Jabo, I've been watching a load of American podcasts. They ended up coming on my YouTube, and see, in fairness to them, none of them are saying fucking Scottish football wankers. They're all kind of going, aye, he's made an arse here. I mean, he's kind of so. But so he had to go, Brian.
Aye, he had to. It was no when you're, and I think he'd sort of embedded, and not by choice, he'd embedded a culture where the players were going onto the park thinking, and again, this goes back to what Jason was saying about the Rangers game. The players were going onto the park thinking, we're going to give away at least 1 or 2 goals, so we need to score 2 or 3 goals to win a game. And I think then you go back to that Rangers game and you start speaking about the chances that they missed. It's because boys know that they need to score because they know that they're going to give something away back because they're so exposed at the back. And see, if you flip it to the previous under Martin O'Neill, 3-7 at the 8 games, it was the opposite because the boys were going, actually, see, even if we nick a goal here, we'll probably win this game because we're tight at the back. So we know they're more controlled, they're more calm when they go in front of goals compared to under Nancy. It was, right, we need to score every single chance because we need probably 2 or 3 goals to win a game now. And that's just a mental sort of mindset to go into a game. But it's 100%, his time is up. There's no manager at Celtic can have a start like that and last. There was just no way. And I sort of agree, if the Motherwell game was a schooling, and I think every fan left the pubs or the stadium and went, Jesus, man, it's done, because we have absolutely been schooled off Liverpool. It could have been Liverpool. It probably better been Liverpool. Motherwell, we've been schooled off Motherwell. And that's a reality check here at where we're at. So, yeah, 100% had to go. 100%.
See as well, like, talking about Motherwell, right, their manager seems to fucking have the total Midas touch. He seems to be a right cracker. And I don't think you can underplay the importance of a manager in a football team, regardless of how good the players are. Would you agree with that, Brian?
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. The manager's essential, and he'll set the tone. He'll give the boys the confidence. I know for a fact Martin O'Neill would have been in there this week, and he wouldn't have spent a lot of time in the training ground, I don't imagine, but he'll be speaking to the boys on one-to-ones and groups, and he'll be installing confidence, sort of try to get in their head, sort of making sure that they know that they're still good players. That's the leadership element of the role that you need. And that's just as important as your tactics, as your style, as your formation, as you're able to communicate and speak to these individuals and in their head and say, no, actually, you're a good player. And the manager is essential. And obviously that guy at Motherwell is doing all that as well, because he keeps, obviously they lost a few players to AFCON, and there's the boys that are bringing in, they're still performing at a high level.
He makes 5 changes a game, and we just slot in. And these are all journeymen football players. These are guys that's, you look at Stephen Welsh, he's like fucking Baresi with him now.
He's playing really well.
And you're just like, it just shows you if that guy trains you well, gives you confidence in what you're doing, and you're walking out to that park and everybody knows what their job is. Fucking hell, what a difference it makes. And guys like myself that's never played the game at any level, you watch it and you think, oh, they're all professional players. They don't need a manager. They can go there and do it, but that's naive. And it doesn't matter how good they are. And obviously I would say we've still got the best players in the league, even with the injuries. Mm-hmm. But if you've not got a captain steering the ship, then it's fucking rudderless and they're all over the shop. And that's exactly what it was with him. And I'm so happy that he's away, because it was like, I mean, that Rangers game, even at half time, I turned around to my mates and says, they'll probably beat us. And they were pathetic. And even when they beat us, they were still pathetic, because I watched it back and I actually thought they were all ours in the second half. And then see, when I watch it again, we had about 5 good chances in the second half again, and just couldn't put the ball in the net, as you say, but they're panicking in front of goal and just awful. But they're getting carried away now, and don't get me wrong, that role's installed a winning mentality to them, and they kind of know what their job is, and they're kind of up for the fight. But I don't think they're any good. I think they'll drop points and all. I don't really rate them as a football team.
But the big thing with them is they're identifying where they're weak and where they need to strengthen right now. I mean, like, I don't want to kind of be a bedwetter with the Huns, but their confidence is up. They're getting the wins. They're basically doing what Martin O'Neill done.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And we're all kind of hoping Martin O'Neill can do that for us. But the fact is they're kind of going, right, we're weak here, we need to strengthen here, and I dare say Hearts have kind of grabbed a couple, and but we'll come to that later. So sorry, I was getting ahead of myself there anyway. But I wasn't overly impressed with the Huns that day either. But they were good for their win because the mistake. I mean, I watched Open Go and Ferry was going, how can you blame the manager for the goals he conceded? And it all leads back to what Brian says, doesn't it? If you're not comfortable and you're not 100% sure what you should be doing, where you should be on that pitch, then these things are going to happen. Aren't they, really?
Yeah.
Aye, it's 100%. And again, if you look at the Rangers game, obviously Rangers changed their shape in the second half. And then it goes back to what we're speaking about. That's where you need your manager to react and be that leader and inspire the team and say, no, right, if this is what we're going to do, to try and counter this, because you could tell after the kick-off, you're right, the game's changed for the first half now.
Yeah.
And that's where we needed the manager to go, right. And I appreciate he still might want to keep his shape. I get that, right. But then you go, right, we're going to play more direct. So we need to go long to try and play in the Rangers half and get us up the park. Because there was too many times that Celtic were losing the ball in their own half, and it was just gaining Rangers' confidence. So Rangers are pressing. But the game did become a wee bit a basketball game. It was just going end to end a wee bit because it became so stretched. But Rangers are still thinking to themselves, we're definitely getting chances here. And that's where Celtic are going, we're going to give away chances. So if Celtic are more thinking about the negative than they are the positive, because they've no got that goal scorer, they've no got the Larson, the Hooper, the Griffiths, or whoever, the Dembele, whoever it is, who, if you give him even half a chance, he scores. So Celtic know, right, we need about 6 chances to score maybe 2 goals, and they're turning around looking, going, right, probably Rangers need 3 chances to score 3 goals, and that's when and that's where the psychological element of sort of football and the football players comes in as well. That what Martin O'Neill have been doing this week is the total opposite. He'll be building on, right, it's what we're going to do is we're going to be tight at the back. We're going to be clearing our box. If it's on to play, we play. If it's not on to play, then we go long and we play in the opposition half. And I think we'll go back to see the sort of style of play that we've seen previously, where it's slightly more direct when it's under pressure. But if it's on to play, then they play.
And I think, see all the players, I mean, you've just seen wee snippets for Lennox Town, but I think a weight will be off every one of their shoulders, and they'll be like coiled springs coming out tomorrow.
Aye.
You know, they'll be buzzing. Just
right, but well, I'm going to hold you on that. This isn't Joe you're dealing with, Jason. I think you're kind of roughshodding me, Brian, your cousin just texted me saying, right, forget that prick Nancy, onward and upwards. So I'm going to now touch on your past as a Celtic legend. Oh, sorry, you played beside a Celtic legend. That's what it was. Sorry, mate. Sorry, I got that confused.
I was getting excited there.
Aye, your ex-teammate was on the overlap today. It just made me remember you, mate. That I mean, he mentioned you in a book, I think, didn't he? Aye.
Yes, I'm in Mr. Larson's book. A claim to fame. I've got 500 copies in the house if you want.
Jason, just while I have you asked me a question. Now, I'd like you to ask direct that same question to Brian, the question you asked me about the Lions.
Oh, I was, the Lisbon Lion on Twitter the day posted up. It was the only game where the Lisbon Lions played after Lisbon. They beat Clyde 5-1 at Celtic Park. So he put it on. Ronnie Simpson actually didn't play, but he walked out with the team. And I think it was the only time after Lisbon that they were together on the park. And Celtic won 5-1, but the guy that scored for Clyde was McColligan. And I said to Scott, I says, is that in relation to Brian? I don't suppose it is, mate, is it?
It certainly is. It's my Uncle John.
Is it?
So Uncle John's claim to fame is, and if Uncle John ever hears this, I'm sure he won't, but he'll absolutely love it because it's his party piece in the pub.
Exactly, that's it. Same to Scott.
Party piece in the pub. I've no idea how Scott's never met him at family parties, but it's.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I've never heard that either.
Martin and Jerry, I've spoken to him, Peter and Adams, sort of drink them in the Briggs and all that. So, you're right. So, it was the last time the Lions played. I think it was Ronnie Simpson came out. He started the game and he sort of went off after 30 seconds or something because he was injured. So Uncle John's claim to fame is he was the last player to score against the Lisbon Lions. So I think he's had a right few drinks on the back of that. There's a few
Ranger supporters.
there's a few quiz questions on the back of it as well. So if any time that sort of comes up, so anytime if you ever speak to Uncle John, I'm sure he'll tell you about it. But I was telling Scott, I was taking my boy to football. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and one of the dads, who's a taxi driver, sort of pulled up beside me, and all the other dads are there, and all the boys are there. He's like, Brian, have you got an Uncle John? I'm like, aye. He's like, have you seen the last player that scored against the Lisbon Lions? I was like, aye, that's right, aye, because he was in my taxi last night and he was telling me about it. I'm like, brilliant.
That's brilliant. What a claim to fame. Bloody hell. Just when it come up the day with me saying to Scott says, I don't think so. Brian's never mentioned it. No. I don't think so.
I'll get you in the company of John McColligan. That's an experience, I tell you that. That's an experience and a half. He's a man.
Would your dad be there? I don't know if I can handle that. Fuck's sake.
The two of them are just as bad, because my dad still claims that he was a better player than John, but then John says, I was the last player to score against the Lisbon Lions. It's a hard one for my dad to come back on, you know what I mean?
That's brilliant.
Right, but forget your Uncle John for 10 minutes. We're going to talk about you, mate. Right, so the last time we had the trio of Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney and Fozzy in the building, I was talking to Jerry, and we'll talk about yourself, and he says, well, remember Brian played under O'Neill. He played with Maloney and he played with Fozzy, I know, and I was like, fucking hell, that's right, man. Aye. So, with that in mind, what's your thoughts on the three of them coming in? I mean, like, I don't know if you still speak to any of them. Obviously, you wouldn't be speaking to Martin O'Neill, but...
No, I've not. I think I've got wee Fozzy on Facebook. I can see why, again, you look at leadership and you think of Martin O'Neill and you say, like, why has he brought Maloney in, or why has he brought wee Fozzy in? He's brought Maloney in because Maloney's went away, and Maloney always was like a student of the game. He was always a thinker. He was always very quiet, but you could tell he had a great understanding of the game, so you can see that he's developed his sort of coaching style and technique with sort of Martinez and all that over a period of time. He's went away and learned the game. He's had a wee sort of stint at management as well. So he's probably more of a quiet, sort of thoughtful personality, whereas Fozzy's, obviously, I think everybody's seen that clip when he's talking about Huddersfield when he's the manager. Right? He's very much like that. Fozzy was see, when he was younger, he was like a wonder kid. He was like, every team in Britain was after him.
I remember being in Cardigans. Remember being in Cardigans, and I'm pretty sure it was Brazil versus Holland in the World Cup. I think it was like a quarter-final or something. Big Pierre just came off the bench, and there was a story floating about Celtic have signed this young boy, Mark Fotherham, superstar, not back Alec Ferguson. It's going to be a wonder. We're going to be a fucking superstar.
So he was like a very, very. So he was coming in at youth team. And I wouldn't have been like, he was definitely champing the door about under 21, saying, "It's why am I not playing at 21s?" And I'd be baffled if he wasn't even champing the door with Martin O'Neill saying, "It's why am I not playing the first team?" So he was super confident, big character, very sort of knew how good he was, but sometimes he didn't back it up on the park. And that's not any slant on Fozzy, because he was an unbelievable player. But
would you have played much beside him?
Aye, we played at 21s with Fozzy.
You'd have played the two. You'd have played centre mid.
I probably at that point I was meant to the left. So at that point he was trying to break in, but you had Liam Miller, Colin Healy playing centre mid as well. So it was a real thing for him to try and break through. So he made his debut the same day as me as well. So Fozzy played that day. But unbelievable ability. But he's a character, so you can see why Martin O'Neill's got the two boys in. So Maloney's a thoughtful one. He's the one on the training ground the sessions will all be sort of targeted towards what's going to happen on the Saturday. Obviously, Big Mick McManus is there as well, so he'll be very much like the vocal one. He'll be the leader out the pack, and Florian will be in about the boys, making sure that they're on point, they're bubbly, there's a bit of an atmosphere, there's a buzz about the place, as Paul McStay famously said. So I can see that combination. Did I ever think they were going to be managers? Probably. Maloney and Florian, no, they were the two of them were invested in the game, and they loved the game, and they loved talking about the game. did I ever see them come back with Martin O'Neill? Probably no. But I can see why Martin O'Neill's got the two in. It makes sense because his sort of approach to training and stuff like that is he'll leave that to them, and he'll come onto the training ground and observe and watch and speak to people. Then he'll pull somebody else away, he'll go and speak to them and put them back at training, and he'll go and speak to somebody else. He'll speak to a group, and he'll hold court, and he's got that aura about him when he walks into a room or when he walks on the training ground, where they leave the actual technical aspect of it to Sweet Maloney, which I think he is very good at. From what I've spoken to some people who've worked with him since at Hibs specifically, and they were saying the sessions were brilliant. It was all very much targeted to what was going to happen on a Saturday or how they were going to play on a Saturday.
See, I love that. I think that's brilliant. I love that, man. I mean, it does tie up with his old backroom team, I suppose, where you had Wilfried, you had John Robertson was the cunt going around slaughtering you.
Aye, Robert was, but Wilfried was the brains behind it, so he was the one who would have the sessions all laid out. He knew how to do it. He knew what he was going to focus on. If it was, set pieces, about pressing high or dropping deep or defending the box or getting close to somebody in midfield, then that would all be the aim of the training of that week. And Maloney will be very much like that as well. So you can see
how often did you train with the first team back then?
No, it's probably closer to the end of the season. Well, with Martin O'Neill, no. But obviously we were training on the same park at that time because we were all training at Barrowfield. So the first team used to train on the main park at Barrowfield, and the 21s would train on a wee bit at the side.
Right.
So you would see them all, but it was all very structured and targeted about what they wanted to get, and it'll be the same now. It's not going to be any different. I don't imagine Martin O'Neill's going to be jumping about the park, sort of taking sessions. He'll get people in place to make sure that that's what they want. And I sort of heard a wee whisper a while. It was about 2 weeks ago I heard it, and I think that was some of the feedback as well. Is obviously the players who have been there for a while are used to a very high level of training, and training being sort of just what I spoke about. Your training is very much pointed towards what you're going to do on a Saturday, the style of play, style of press, the type of balls into the box, the finishings. It's all related. And the first team players have been used to that. With obviously, as Brendan Rodgers was when he first came in, was very much about his coaching. And whatever you say about John Kennedy, anybody that works with John Kennedy, he's a fantastic coach. Appreciate. There's different opinions on him for him being there so long and some failures, but as a coach, he's outstanding. So the players were used to a very high standard of training and coaching, and I think when the new guys came in, that standard dropped. And again, that's just another wee thing that the players are looking at going, by the way, we're used to doing certain things which we then do on a Saturday, and now that's not happening. So you can see why Maloney's the one taking the training, because he's got that sort of knowledge of how European football styles can work and the different styles can work, and how you can implement that into your training to make sure that you can see it on a Saturday. So again, that was just another wee thing I'd heard. How much it is true, I don't know, because there was loads of rumours kicking about winter. But it sort of makes sense. And it was funny, I watched a wee clip during the week of Martin O'Neill's first session. And it just looked like a wee passage of play where it goes through the back to the midfield, goes out to the wide, they cross it in, and somebody finishes it. And there was no defenders, but you could just see that was something that's been implemented. You could tell it's been implemented from Martin O'Neill to Maloney. He's put it into a session, and it wasn't very technical, but it's just about getting the players into the mindset of once you've got the ball in the middle, get the ball out wide. Once the ball's out wide, it's boys get into the box, cross it in, finish, and we'll go again. And it's wee simple things like that. And I'm sure that sort of thought process would have expanded into more technical training throughout the week. But I think this was on the Tuesday, so it was the first day. It was Celtic TV put it up. It was about 20 minutes worth. And you could see...
I watched it myself.
It was just a simple session, but you can see that's in trying to implement their style to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get the ball out wide, there's going to go balls into the box, and we're going to get people in the box, and we're going to score goals.
Well, fucking Henry Larsson said that's what we should be doing, so who am I fucking arguing?
Did you hear the bit in the session as well? Maloney shouted, "That's the midfield we know."
I did.
Aye.
So you can see that you can imagine tomorrow what's very much going to be like is boys in the box. I'd be amazed if it's no Forrest and Maida, and it'll be the two wide boys, get to the line, get boys into the box, your midfielders, make sure one or two of these are definitely in the box, and centre forward, make sure you're sort of within the width of the goalposts and try and get on to the end of things. And that's where he go to success in the last 8 games, and that's where we hope he gets the success in the next 18 games to make sure we win the league. But aye.
Well, that's it. I mean, we'll push on to Dundee United anyway, so we'll have a wee bit more chat about what we think is, because I think we're all expecting Celtic to go back to the 4-3-3. As you say, boys in the box. It's more the frustrating thing, I think, for all is the new is I would have expected a centre forward to be in the building for the 1st of January. Fuck's sake, for that game against the Huns. I thought it would be irresponsible to get into this game without another striker brought in. But sure enough, we've not got another fucking striker.
This is the 9th of January.
Yeah, scandalous.
And I get the thing that Tisdale's out the building now, right? So obviously their head of football operations is gone. So whatever plans that they had is maybe up in the air, but it's still unforgivable.
Mate, it really is. I mean, Big John McKenna sent a message to us like earlier on, and he says, we're 9 days into January, we've still not replaced the striker that we sold a year ago, and we even try to get the guy that we sold a year ago to come back, and he doesn't want to come back. He says, what kind of fucking shit are we in? I mean, it's wild, man. But, no, like I say, I fully expect us to set up as spoken about. We're weaker now. Well, I suppose we're kind of weaker because the boy Pussy's away, so you've lost him as well.
Yeah.
He's away.
He's away. He's going to Germany now.
Did they have 2? Did they come on twice or something?
Say that again.
Many times did they play twice?
Once.
He came under Martin O'Neill when it played right back.
One game. Did they come on as a sub at all?
No,
just one game.
One game. I mean, if they played that game at right back, I didn't think it looked that bad. And the thing is, again, to go back to that 3-4-3, like I say, his 3-4-3 was his 3 at the back was nothing like I've ever seen in my life, right? Nothing. And I've played. It's that.
Hopefully, you'll never see it again.
I never see it again. Right? But I mean, see the thought of a 3 at the back. I thought the boy Pussy would have looked great for a traditional 3 at the back. He'd have been perfect for the right centre half, and he'd have had skills at the left centre half for a proper 3 at the back. But what would I know about him? So the big problem I've got about tomorrow, right, is a striker, obviously, and the fact that our midfield has failed somewhat. It's kind of broken. Guys that Martin O'Neill were getting a tune of, I wouldn't say reverted to type, but I think we're lower now than we were when Martin O'Neill took us off after Brendan Rodgers, after that Hearts and Dundee game, or Dundee and Hearts, should I say? Hearts Dundee. So with that in mind, right, so we're thinking we're going to go back to 4-3-3. Brian, we'll ask you first. Who do you think Celtic are going to put out tomorrow for United? And then think about how United play and what would be best.
I think what we'll do, because when O'Neill first time, it wasn't a 4-3-3, he sort of played as a 4-2-3-1. So he had it was Engels, McGregor, and you basically say it was Hatate or Ingrain, just hit the box. Like, your job is to be like the Stan Petrov of 20 years ago and just make sure you get in the box and score. So I think tomorrow, because of pressure-wise, I think we'll go for an experienced team. So I think we'll go Ralston, we'll go Trusty Scales, Tierney, with McGregor and Engels. I think they might go with Forrest, Maeda. Depending how we Hatate's looked at training, I think they'll probably go with him. But in my head, I'm probably thinking they'll go with Nygren for height, just to make sure you've got extra people to defend the box. Because if you think about the game at Tannadice, it was probably one of the wee Celtic teams that we've ever put out, and we end up losing goals from second balls and set pieces. So I think they'll probably go that, because Dundee United will still cause that threat. Parkhead will still cause threat from set pieces. And it will be Kenny up front again, possibly for sort of defensive, but I would imagine that Neil's been in Kenny's ear all week and trying to get him, because the boy looks totally short of confidence.
Yeah.
It looks as if, the only time it looks relieved is when his number goes up and he's coming off. The boy just looks terrified, and I feel for it. It's horrible to see, because to go back to what Jason was talking about, the Rangers game, he's maybe about 1 yard away from scoring in the Rangers game, and
what a save Buckland's
I can totally change it. So for me, that's what I think. And I think he'll say to the two, he'll say to McGregor and Engels that you just sit in front of your two centre halves. He'll say to the two centre half boys, you defend the box. If it's on to play, we play. If it's not on to play, then we go long and we'll chase them down, and we'll try and turn sort of Dundee United. And that's why I think he'll go with sort of pace in the wider areas. It'll take the pressure off Ralston a wee bit, who's again has looked shaky, because if he's got wee Forrest in front of him, whose his ball retention is really good, so he can just get to Forrest and he keeps it. So I think that's where they'll probably try and balance it out. The other one is Luke McCowan, and who's sort of been in the news quite a lot in the press because of what he said after the game. But actually, I thought it was one of his poorer games for Celtic when he played against Rangers. Actually, the amount of times he gave the ball away, but again, he's playing in an area that he's probably not used to, and he's sort of receiving the ball and he's trying to find passes in areas that he's not used to. So you can give him a wee bit for that. But that's what I would imagine it will shape up tomorrow, and it will be about, let's get boys in the box. If we're struggling, we'll turn them, try and get the Dundee United defenders facing their own goals, and it will be about a lively start. It will be about how quickly they want to start the game, because he knows if he starts it, he'll get the fans on side.
Yeah.
Then before you know it, that's a big thing for Dundee United. If they come there and the fans are on board and the fans are cheering at corners and all that, and you can see, they can sense the goals coming, all of a sudden, if Dundee United boys start dropping deeper and deeper. So that's where I would see them. It's about you. What do you think?
Well, Jason, I'll come to you in a second, but you say turning the defence, that game up in Tannadice, we were getting in constantly down their right-hand side. Dyson was having a fucking wonder game, wasn't he? We were just clipping the ball or the tap every time, and to the point, I'm pretty certain they broke that boy off, didn't they? Aye. That was one of the big changes they made. So I would kind of hope we're going to do the same thing. Me and Jason were talking recently, and now like the fucking all heads of football, and I was saying how I always see that fucking counter-attacking type football. See that football when, as you say, direct football, and you're fucking going for it. A wee bit of pace now. I can see why you're saying about James Forrest. Tanecki's back, isn't he? So
I'm forgetting about him. Sorry, I'm forgetting about him.
I don't know and obviously Barlett Whistle's not going to fucking start. Do you know what I mean? See with the Nancy stuff, I've got to say the one guy for me that came out of it looking like a better player, and don't get me wrong, he still had stinkers, was Negrin, because Negrin looked like a guy who's much more comfortable doing the one-touch football rather than... I felt, see with Negrin, we're almost expecting a Nicholas Kuhn replacement. Somebody who gets the ball and kind of drives at people and draws people and draws the team down a line. But I felt Negrin's been better. Now, taking a touch, moving, taking a touch, moving, taking a touch, keeping the play moving. So if we can keep Negrin doing that, then I can see him kicking on. But I've said that all season about everybody. I thought Engel was going to kick on. I thought Atati was going to kick on. I thought McGregor was finally going to kick on. And everyone. And you're saying about Luke McCowan against the Huns. Dundee United away, I thought Luke McCowan was appalling, and he fucking played the whole game. But no, J-Bo, right? With all that shit in mind, what's your thinking? Right now, by the way, J-Bo, who do you have in goals?
Aye, we've not even covered that yet. That's one of my major worries for the season going forward. It honestly is. And he still makes some cracking saves, but the guy is a total liability for that team. I mean, most shots on target are goals now. That third goal against Rangers was fucking abominable. But see, even a penalty as well, a team gets a penalty against us as well, just tell them, just centre, guys. There's no point. As long as they hit the target, it's a goal. He's a fucking bomb scare, so he is. And he shouts at his defenders, and I don't know, is it because he's a character in the dressing room or whatever? Is that with masks? I don't know. But he shouldn't be playing. And that's one thing I would say about Martin O'Neill. He's never had a good goalie. And he was never too arsed about goalies. Well, it seemed like that in the face of it anyway. And until he left, that was the first decent goalie I'd seen in my lifetime at Celtic. Until Martin O'Neill left. But I mean, Douglas and that were all right. Gould, he was all right, but they weren't great. But this is just a fucking joke, don't it? But onto the team, I agree with Nygren. I think Nygren, and you seen when Martin O'Neill's parting, sort of know how he was in the dressing room saying to them all, he made a point and going out to Nygren and he says, you could be one of the best. And I think Nygren will be pivotal for him. He
spoke at the thing of the day. He spoke at the press conference today, and he was talking about how buzzing he is that O'Neill's back in.
I can imagine. So,
can you imagine? See, for Nygren, you can imagine that Martin O'Neill just say to him, "All you do is hit the box. But don't worry about the build up. Just make sure you get in the box to score goals." Mm-hmm. And see, for a player, that's right. That's quite simple. Just get myself in there, and he'll say to Engels, McGregor, right, you pick up the pieces, you build up the play, but make sure when the ball goes into the box, if you're not in that box, then you're getting hooked off. So he knows, right, if you're in there enough, you'll score goals.
Oh, definitely. And see back to that point, see about giving simple instructions to players. It must be a hell of a lot easier for the player just to go into autopilot when they're on the park.
Aye.
Rather than getting fucking Pythagoras theorem in their heads. Where are we going here? I think you made a great point right at the start, Brian. It's something that I hadn't thought about. It's like when a player's got to think about what they're doing, then all bets are off. Because you're right, they should go out there and it's just autopilot. That's what they do all their life. So aye. But as for the team, I don't disagree with defence. I think he'll definitely play Engels McGregor. It's the next.
What do you think defence?
I think he'll play Ralston at right. I think he'll play Trusty Scales and Tierney in the left.
You know how you might give this new guy a go?
Do you know what he might? Because he actually only had. Do you know what I forgot about him there, Scott? See when he came on against him, he actually looked all right. But he was only on for a bit and didn't do much. But he seemed to have a wee bit about him. And do you know what? I think he might play him. But I don't know. Maybe he's one of his old guard there. Maybe bring him on to see what he's all about. He obviously knows what Ralston can do. Ralston's not the best player in the world, but he'll give 100%. And if he's back at a standard right back, we've got less chance of a calamity. But I think he'd maybe start with Ralston and maybe bring that boy on the half hour to go or something, depending on the score. But no, he maybe start him, but I think he'll probably go with Ralston. And I reckon he'll do Engels McGregor. And then it's interesting. I think he'll do Maeda in the left. And I think Kenny up front. The right, I kind of agree with you, Brian, with the Forest. But I think he might play Yang. Yang's been
good shout.
I think Yang's been decent. And he's got some pace. And obviously after his goal at the weekend as well. And get a good bit of confidence for that. And then I think he'll definitely play Nygren. So who's the other? Is it Luke McCown? Is it Hatate? I don't know. I would play Hatate, but I don't know. He's not been his best this season.
Do we know how Nengo's got a sniff?
No, have I got 12 players here?
You've got 12 players on there. You're trying to make sure. Right. Definitely
I've got a Wilfried Nancy team out there. Right. So right. Aye. So it'll be Engels McGregor, Maeda in the left. Aye.
You can do it, buddy.
Aye, so Maeda in the left, Nygren behind, Yang in the right, and Kenny up front.
You think Kenny? Is there no danger Maeda starts up top?
I don't think so.
I don't think we should, but I'm just wondering.
See if he was in his form at that point last season when he was playing up front and he was fucking prolific. But he's kind of not really been in that. He's not really been playing the position, so it's quite hard. But I think in the left wing, he gives you plenty.
So the lineup in his last game, right, was against Dundee at home, the 1-0 win.
Yep.
We started with Schmeichel on nets. Sarachi started. Trusty, Donovan, Scales, Arnie Engels, Luke McCowan, Oriel Hatate, Carl McGregor, Dyson Maeda, and Yang. So he started with Dyson up top the last one.
Actually, McCowan played off the right wing, didn't he? Because he played a few games
right.
like that. The last couple of games, he sort of played off the right wing.
Yeah.
So maybe he will. And there's another one, Donovan. Donovan was kind of out the picture with him as well. Scales and Donovan will be delighted because they were kind of out the picture with Nancy. And I think Donovan's looked really good. So I rate the boy.
The irony, Jason, is before Nancy turns up, I'm calling Donovan as your big success of the season.
Aye.
I mean, the season's been that terrible, but Donovan's come in and you're kind of going, no harm to Ralston, but I think his time's done at Celtic. I mean, I think he's hit his heights. I would, if he was an inclination to leave, I wouldn't have stood in his way. And Donovan would be your next guy. I don't think Johnson's going to be staying about any much longer once he comes back. But again, it depends on how he fucking goes. But no, I don't like. I think the new boy will play it right back. I can see the keeper staying in nets. I see Scales and Trusty, KT, centre of the park, McGregor, obviously. I agree. I think Negrin's will shoot you in, and then it's who else plays in beside it. I kind of agree with Brian. I think Hatate will come in, but I do think the remaining midfield berth comes down to training this week. I really do, which is mental. Do you know what I mean? But nobody deserves a jersey as it sits. If you're talking about and he loves Callum, so Callum's going to start. I think Negrin's your top goal scorer, so you've got to have him in there. Nice. Especially if we're no trusting Kenny at this point. I think Yang deserves his jersey on the right. And then on the left, it really depends on what you're doing. I would start with Dyson on the left and we hope Johnny Kenny does something. We get something for him. I mean, this was the game that killed him, I think, the Dundee United game, because he missed 3 or 4 absolute sitters. So this is maybe a wee bit of retribution for him to kind of hopefully, and I think that the crowd will support him. The thing about him is he doesn't fucking hide.
No.
He does not hide, and he does not stop working for the team. And Jason, I had goes at Scales and everything, Hatate and everybody on Monday. But whilst I still don't think Kenny is good enough, I can't criticise him for his attitude. I can't. Just can't.
See after the semi-final against that mob, what a game he had. And you're saying to yourself, this could be the... I was actually walking out thinking, this could be it. This could be the launch pad for him. Yeah. And then he's got pace, right? He can obviously put the ball away. He's a decent player. And he's the type of guy you would think, see if he starts getting a couple of goals and gets on a roll and gets confident, there's definitely a player there.
Aye.
But it's just, as it goes on and on and on. But you mentioned it, Brian, with the pressure they were under Nancy, maybe this will be the kickstart for him, because
you can see that Kenny is going to be one of the players. If he leaves Celtic, he'll go and score 15, 20 goals in the Championship in England. It is very much because he does. It's just what you said there, Jason. He does everything sort of right up until that final wee bit of composure that you need right in front of goals. He makes the right runs and he shuts people down and he wins headers, and sometimes his link-up play is really good as well. But then when you just need to... I heard it was like... Who was talking? I think it was Ian Wright was talking about it. And he said, but when I used to go in front of goals, I would just go cold. I would just go slow, whereas everybody else, it's a rush. And I always think Kenny, it's always a rush with him. He's not got that sort of just calm myself down, I'll take a touch and I'll play it there. But up until that point, you're exactly what you're saying. You're like, he's making the runs, he's got a decent turn of pace, he's a good size, he sort of wins his headers, he links up play, but he just needs that wee sort of bit of composure, and that's the difference. That's your difference.
Do you know who it reminds me of? Owen Coyle.
Owen Coyle? Coyle was a good finisher.
Mate, but Coyle, he reminds me of Owen Coyle in terms of Owen Coyle was a great finisher. He had a decent bit of height. He knew how to use his body. He wasn't the slowest. And Owen Coyle got going later in his career. I agree. Know what I mean? Because Owen Coyle, I watched him recently, and he was talking about. He says, he says, I just didn't think I was good enough for Celtic, and that's where because I think he'll end up like you just said there. I think he's going to end up a great finisher somewhere else.
You can see it. It's as Jason said, it does everything that you want him to do, but it's just that wee final bit. Is it different?
I wanted to bring. Well, I'm going to kind of take just a wee go back a way, and then we'll go back to where we were. But I meant to bring this up earlier. So, do you ever remember the guy Keith Wyness? He was the former chief up in Aberdeen. And he was a CEO at Aberdeen for fucking since 2000 or something. So he done a podcast with Football on the Cider, and they were talking about Tisdale.
He went to Everton for a bit, him, didn't he?
Wyness, did he?
I think he did, aye.
Right, all right, okay. But I thought I'd read this out because it kind of shows up the board, to be honest, and it shows up the board, I'm body pinning it, I don't know. Right, so I'm just going to read this out, right? I'll try to make it as quick as I can, and then we can move on again, right? So it seemed inevitable that we're going to be talking about this, and here we are, perhaps sooner than we thought. 8 games, 33 days. What a huge mistake by the board to actually take this in. Now, it seems Paul Tisdale's director of football, who's also lost his job, and I think it's mainly because of this decision. I think it's all because of this decision. He was a big fan of Nancy, and he convinced the board this was the way to go. Tisdale, look, I'd come across Tisdale when I was at Villa. It was a very strange situation about somebody trying to promote him, and it wasn't really an agent, but it was a business mogul who I won't name. He called me up and claimed Tisdale was the next great football guru and that he was a great guy. If I remember him in his hat down at Exeter and the whole thing, he was a bit of a football hipster. How Celtic gets sold that bunch of rubbish is amazing to me. It just is not Celtic. It showed to me that the board were out of touch. They thought they were trying to be going forward, but I'm afraid it was rubbish. And I'm afraid Tisdale did not understand what was needed at Celtic, did not understand Scottish football, did not understand the Old Firm. And for me to say this, look, it's difficult for people who understand the pressure in Glasgow. You had to be up there to do it, and I've been up in Scotland, I've worked in Scotland, and in Aberdeen, it's very difficult. So that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Basically, we get taken in by a fucking charlatan.
By the way, did you get sent that WhatsApp the day? Mick sent it right about Tisdale's business model, how he get the job at Celtic.
Aye.
I don't know if there's any, you read all that shit all the time, but you could imagine Celtic fucking saying, "Oh, this fucking will suit us. Don't spend any money." Basically. So what it was, Brian, basically any money you get in for transfers, they split it 3 ways. A third went to the academy, a third went on transfers, and a third went to, where did the other third go to again? Wages. So a third went wages wages budget, a third went in transfers, and a third went to the academy. But you didn't spend it all because you actually thirded it down again because you did a 3-year plan. So if you get 15 million in, right, 5 million went in transfers, but you're only doing like 1.75 because you're doing the long term. You're only doing 1.75 that year, and that's what he built at Exeter City. Seemingly that's how Celtic to Celtic.
He's one of these things, seeing years to come. See if this was any other business, seeing years to come, you would look back on that and go, how how did he actually get that job?
Right.
And there would be real questions marks about who gave him a job. This won't happen in this because it's football. Things like this happen all the time. People get jobs because they're all pals and all that, and when they shouldn't, they've not got the relevant skills or skill set to actually or experience. But I'm sure in years to come, somebody will start looking into that and go, how the hell did that happen? How's he? See the thing that summed him up, and that there's when the cameras are on him, there's always a wee clip. See that clip where it's during the game and he's sitting there and he shuts his eyes and you're going, come on, you have to read the room, man. Read the room.
Even kid on, you're interested.
No, kid on. Wear a pair of shades or something at least. Just kid on, your eyes are open.
Do you not think it's the perfect industry, but the football industry for absolute shysters to flourish?
Why?
Because
100%.
with that much money swashing about, most people that run clubs haven't actually got a clue about football. You know, and it's just fucking, football must be littered with people that just fucking blag their way in. And then you look at the full agent game. Guys with a bit of fucking gumption about them have realised, look at the money that's in there. I can fucking blag my case. I'll just get a portfolio with players and fucking start making fortunes.
It's football's full of people who lie, and the people who succeed in football are the ones who can sort of see through the lies and go, nah, right, I can trust you or I can't trust you. Because think about agents, the amount of agents that will phone managers or will phone chairmans or whoever it is and say, by the way, I've got this player, he's brilliant. He'll score you 25 goals a season or whatever it is. Or if it's the board of directors lying to the manager or the manager lying to... Because I always wonder what Nancy would have said to the board. Did Nancy say, I'm going to stick to a free to back, a 3-4-3, that's all information I play, and I'm not going to play anything else? Surely he's not said that to the board. The board's went, that sounds like a great idea.
And see, we did say
that sounds brilliant.
But we spoke about it Monday, and do we honestly believe that he actually got a proper interview? Like me going for a job tomorrow.
Do you think they would even have asked him, Brian? I don't think they would even have asked him. What's that Michael Nicholson going to say to him? What would he know?
I know.
You know, they'd be sitting down, how are you getting on? How's the weather out there? No, it's a bit rainy here. No, they'd be talking about shit like that rather than what you're going to be doing when you get here.
Brian, I told the story. I've told this story again, but this is what the fucking Homeboys is for. Me and Jason telling the same stories repeatedly over. But Liam's not here to clap us, Jason, so we can fucking do it, man. But I years ago I got a look in and Jenny McGinty's, and Willie Mackay was there.
All right. And
Pat McCluskey was there, right? And I was choking to speak to Pat McCluskey. Absolutely choking. And Willie Mackay, he's a huge big guy, and he's standing there, and he's wearing this big fucking grey suit, and he fires his horn right in front of my face. How you doing? I'm Willie Mackay. I'm the biggest agent in the whole of France and Britain. Right? And I was like, right, all right. It's like fucking... So we end up, we're talking about him, and he says to me that day, you're all still in love with Henrik Larsson, but see this boy we've brought in, and do you remember we brought in... I actually told this story recently because I think he clapped me about it. We actually brought in, was it Henri Camara? Wasn't it, yeah. Jason? No, I think it was only a couple of weeks ago.
If you're Wigan or Wolves.
We got him on loan, and he said to me that day, he says, you're all still in love with Henrik Larsson. This guy will make you forget about Henrik Larsson. What a player this was. And they were like... I mean, straight away, I was like, shut up, your fucking dick now. just saying. But, right, anyway, sorry. That was me kind of just wanting to rattle into people. But, talking about the Dundee United there, we were talking about the team. How a sad indictment that Naney's even considered Paulo Bernardo. Never even considered him, man. Mental, innit? Everybody's got a good thing to say about Paulo Bernardo, but by God, that boy's no fucking doing it.
He's one of the players. I actually think he's one of the players who's became a better player
when he doesn't
actually playing. Everybody thinks he's going to be the answer, but he's not actually played. I'm still not sure. I'm sort of the two and bald under sacking. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure what his best position is, because I think for Portugal 21s he plays very attacking midfielder. He's sort of in behind. Whereas anytime he's played with Celtic, he sort of plays as more as a sitter or beside McGregor. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure what his sort of best role in the team is. But anytime he's played recently, you're sort of looking for something from him, but he just seems passive.
Yeah, yeah. He plays it easy, and I think we've got too many easy players in the team now. I mean, the big thing that's frustrating about Calmac is everything seems to be naturally gone back the way with him, doesn't it? As soon as he gets the ball, he seems to turn constantly. Obviously, Kairat was a different, but that one, I could have fucking strangled him that night. Right, okay, we're on the kind of home straight. We'll not keep Brian too long. See, with regards Celtic the now, what do you think we need? Right, I mean, there's obvious ones in there, but many bodies. Do you think, Jason? What do you think? If I'm telling you I can get you a player for what positions? What position do you think? Yeah, get me him right now.
The two we need straight off the bat is we need a goalie and we need a centre forward. But I've got no faith in them going to buy a goalie. I would send a Salo in there, but we need a set. I think we need two centre forwards, to be honest with you.
Martin on YouTube says a miracle.
That's what you need. True.
Two centre forwards, and I mean, is this Loney at right back going to do the? I mean, you've got him, you've got Ralston, you've got Donovan. If he's decent, and you've got Donovan as well, I'd be all right with they two. Tierney at left back, and you're talking about are they going to sign players when you've got that Uruguayan that's injured? Probably no. Midfield, I would like a good midfielder, but we've got hundreds of them. And right winger, Yang's maybe going to go right winger.
We've just, it looks like we've signed this boy for the Israeli team. But I watched Hamish this morning, and he was saying that this guy is not ready to fucking walk into your team.
Oh, wouldn't he? He's playing the fucking second division Israeli teams.
You know what I mean? Says, so what the fuck are we doing, man? Okay,
it's crazy.
So, I mean, what do you think, Brian? What are we missing?
I would go for a right-footed centre half, somebody about 6'2" who's dominant in the air. I think you need probably two centre forwards, but you definitely need one who can score. And until Jota's back, I think you need a wide player who can actually beat a man. Because my concern is the wide boys that we've got. Because Maeda doesn't actually beat anybody with skill.
No.
He sort of needs that ball in behind. And the amount of times Celtic will play at home and they'll play against a low block where they're in the final third all the time, and you need somebody to go and sort of beat somebody with a bit of trickery. Jota would be that.
Taneki could have played the balls to do it.
But he seems to he's weird. He shapes up as if he's going to do it. Then he sort of turns back and passes it back, and you're like, just go and do it.
I know. He's got the tools.
That for me, that's the bit that you need, because that's why I say you would play Forrest. And again, Forrest is he plays one game, then he's out for two. But if you leave Forrest 1-on-1 in the wide area, he'll take the ball to the byline, he'll beat him, and he'll cross the ball. So you know what you'll get. The problem with Forrest just now is his age, and he can't play for sort of a Saturday, Tuesday. As Jason says, it's with Tanekti, he shapes up as if he's going to do it. He's got the pace to do it. He's got the sort of natural touch. He's got the close control, but then he turns back and passes it back to fullback, and you're like,
I know.
It's no use. And that's where your centre forwards get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because they're making runs, they're sort of coming away to go across defenders, and I've made 4 runs in the one move, and the boys went back to the fullback.
See in a different way to form this question, how much money do you think we'll spend in this January window?
I
don't think we'll spend a lot at all.
I'd say about less than 5 million, probably. I think the majority.
I was going to say 5.
Majority will be in loans, but I suppose that's the situation the club's in, because you've put a temporary manager in place. It's even if you're a player, it's unlikely that you're going to come in because you don't know who the manager is going to be in the summer. It's fair enough for that young boy for Israel. If you're playing the second division for Israel and Celtic come in, and your agent goes, "I don't know who the manager's going to be next year." He's like, "Just give me the 4-year deal. I'm going to treble my wages. I'll try and get into the manager."
Do you think players would think that way, Brian? Like, there's no like Barton signing. Aye, established players.
Established players would look at it. 100%. Boys are just like, that Israeli boy will be saying, right, that's what a chance it is for me.
Well, he's Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, sorry, it's Israeli league. You're trying to pull me up on that, sorry. If you're, for example, the boy Callum Wilson, who's been spoken about, right? You can imagine he wouldn't sign a contract for a year and a half. I'd be surprised because he'd want to know who the manager is. But he'd probably come up here for 4 months, 5 months because he knows it's Martin O'Neill.
Yeah,
and he'll get a hefty wage and he'll play on. But I think that would be something that players would want. The established boys was, but if you're a young boy and you're playing in a lesser league, you would take a chance. Of course you would.
Yeah, I've no grief with the guy joining Celtic because, as you say, somebody's fucking said, right, a big club on here wants a chance at you, and you got to go for it. I mean, obviously the political party, it's fucking a bit iffy, but we're not getting into that without Marty here. But we definitely did striker. The Kyogo thing. We spoke Monday, and I kind of went off on a big rant about how we just seem to go for guys who have fucking played with us before, and the Kyogo thing just seems so mental, and it seems Kyogo doesn't want to come to us. But the same wee fucking agent who told him he's best leaving him is now telling him he's best leaving fucking Birmingham and come back to us. So I don't know if this wee agent's just fucking shit short of money and he's fucking looking for a new holiday or something. But if Kyogo doesn't want to sign for us, just move on to the next one. I wouldn't be upset if we went and got the boy from Motherwell. I think he's out of contract in the summer, so I don't know much it's going to cost you. I wouldn't be upset with Callum Wilson, even though, but West Ham is a graveyard for strikers, so I don't really hold it. But last time we got a striker for fucking West Ham was a Yeti, so I don't know. Well, I definitely think we need a right side. You were talking about Tanecki. Tanecki first 2 games, I was like, yes, like to look at him, and he proved in those games that he can do it. Like in terms of beating a man, but I've never seen a guy with so much ability as he's got. I've never seen it produce so little. I've never seen it. I mean, you go back to guys like Paddy McCourt who had all the ability, but the fitness and all that. But Paddy McCourt was beating 4 guys and scoring a goal. Paddy McCourt was chipping the ball or the tap and all that. All our inconsistent wingers all through the years have all produced at the end up. This guy, he'll beat somebody if he does beat somebody, and then nothing. He won't cut it back. He won't take the simple pass. He won't take the shot. It's all kind of madness with him. Because that's how I don't want to give up on him, because I think he's got such good ability. But it's almost as if we should go and get Damien Duff to coach him. Remember Damien Duff? Who was he was coaching? It was Dyson, wasn't it? And Dyson ended up fucking Mazzy. No, I like the centre half shout. I really do. Especially and Carter Vickers is injured. Pushes away. Who does that leave us? I mean, who else is in there? Dane Murray. And Dane Murray, again, initially I thought he was going to be a fucking belter for Celtic, and he looks every bit. No, what frustrates me about Dane Murray is he should be a mile down the road for where he is in terms of
development.
Development.
Have we just gave up on Stephen Welsh, but is that gone?
I think he's away for the year, as you know.
He's away for the year.
Aye, but he was only away for 6 months, and it was up to Celtic if they wanted to recall him.
Is that right?
Decided not to.
See, no, the irony is, Stephen Welsh playing in that mad formation, I can accept it. Stephen Welsh playing in our Celtic team as a defender expected to come out. I don't know, maybe this is going to work for him, but I don't see Stephen Welsh as a Martin O'Neill defender.
No.
I just don't see it. And I think whilst we don't want to go down Shane Duffy, all he does is defend type of centre half, but certainly I'm agreeing. Martin O'Neill's made a history of buying fucking giant centre halves and letting them fucking do their job, and I wouldn't be upset with that now, but who, I don't fucking know. It's interesting you're talking about midfielders there, Jason. Brian, I was sitting with wee Johnny for the Martin O'Neill's first game back, in fact, the Falkirk game.
Aye.
And I'm watching the game and I turn around to him and I say, do you know what I'd love for Celtic just to manage one of the big, tall, strong midfielders, like, and I'm going to go to an extreme and say like a Michael Ballack type, but just see somebody who he's not getting bullied off the ball. He can pass the ball. He might not be the most mobile, but you can trust him to fucking keep holding the ball and all that. Like, in Cham on a good day kind of guy, you know what I mean? One of them in the centre of the park would be fucking magic, man. But no, I like the right wing. I like a centre half, and I definitely want two centre forwards. If one of them's a loan and one of them's a freebie, I'm fine with that. But they've got to be guys that, when the ball's in front of the fucking goal, what I can expect. I've just read, here's one for you, gents. I didn't know if you knew this. Jason, you actually brought his name up a minute ago. So, Marcelo Saracchi, the boy we've got, the Uruguayan left back, we've got on loan for Boca Juniors. So, when we got him, there was no option to buy him. Well, we're basically getting him in loan. And I've been impressed with the guy. But it turns out that Saracchi counts as a foreign player in the Argentinian league, and even with him being out on loan, he's got to be registered in their squad. But the only way they can remove him from the squad and like make a space for somebody else is by punting him. So I don't know. We might see something there. If they want to kind of bring somebody in, we might see some movement there, which I thought was interesting.
He looks decent.
No,
he looks a good, a kind of good alternative to Tierney as well, doesn't he?
Aye, very true. Aye, does.
Yep. And the thing is, we need two left backs because Tierney's definitely not going to play every minute, every game. Impossible.
No. Before we kind of go into the last bit, somebody, your old pal there, where is he? He says he was looking for a goalkeeper, defensive midfielder, and a centre forward. David Black says a goalkeeper, defensive midfielder. Now, a defensive midfielder in Celtic's team, usually I would say we don't really need that for Scotland. But see, right now, would do a job. A good defensive midfielder would be interesting. I see we're linked with this Hadjuk Split, the Canadian boy, who's played right back, but he's a defensive midfielder. I just wondered, does that free Calmac to take one of the other jerseys? And then if so, we've really got to be clearing out the midfielders, eh?
I know. We've got too many.
I think you're probably right. And you would guess it's Hatate, because again, I would guess that he's probably the same agent as Maeda, or probably similar agent to Kyogo in terms of the group that look after him. And once you found it over the years, once you sign a group of players for a particular country, once one goes, it usually the other ones follow suit. But he's the one you thought you would have got most money from, or for, sorry, but I don't know if you will now.
No, you're right.
But that defensive midfielder, the problem with defensive midfielder is I think everybody's looking, like the full of Europe are looking for that sort of mobile, big, strong sort of defensive midfielder. It's became, as years have gone on, it's became a more and more important sort of position. We're sort of entering a wee period where sort of centre forwards are becoming more important again. And that's why you end up paying like 10 million for Adamida, but for like 10 years there, centre forwards weren't important. It was your wide players who were scoring your 20 goals a season, and centre forwards were maybe chipping in with 10 or 15. But now, all of a sudden, the centre forwards are more important. So even it's the boy that Liverpool signed for Newcastle at 125 million, but that filters down to everybody else, and that affects all of a sudden all your centre forwards are getting bought for fortune. So I think I sort of agree with you. I think they'll take a gamble on a young one, and they'll probably try and get free or a loan man for experience. And they'll try and get the 2 centre forwards in.
And see, like Maeda, obviously we've heard murmurings that he's staying now. He's instructed his agent that he's wanting to stay. But you know the way Celtic operate, and he's probably our biggest saleable asset. So say you want to get a biddy 10 plus for him, they're going to take it.
I think he will, but he'll probably look at it and think, if I go to the World Cup and if I have a good World Cup,
I'll get a better team.
So he's probably, that's why he was probably pushing for a move at the start of the season, because he knew, I'm not going to move in January because that could affect my.
You're right. It's a great point. And he goes to a new team and he doesn't get in the team. Next thing he's out of Japan World Cup squad.
I think his stock is still massively huge in Germany, because Germany, like Italy, will be looking at Scotland as almost, you can get yourself a decent bargain in there. Even though there's not been many going, I still think, especially there's been loads and loads of Asian players going to the German league, the Bundesliga, and doing really, really well.
Aye.
And I think, well, obviously Martin O'Neill brought it up. We knew it was a Bundesliga team and he confirmed it was Wolfsburg. So I think his stock will still be high. And I think in the summer he'll go to the Bundesliga. And I think the Bundesliga suits him more than the English league. But
probably right.
But it's interesting. I mean, so I've heard people talking about Cammy Devlin and stuff like that, and Cammy Devlin's having a breakout season because I always thought he was just a fucking thug. You know what I mean? I think he's still got that in him, which is useful. But I always think if you're a dirty player with Celtic, you don't get away with anywhere near as much. I was talking about the boy at Hibs, Bowie.
I like him.
Kieran Bowie.
He's a good player.
But he'll not pay the money for him.
No, but my mate was saying though, the amount of fouls he gets away with playing with Hibs, he says you just don't get away with that at Celtic. But again, with Celtic though, well, you need to make that amount of fouls.
I know, you probably won't, because you're not doing that much fighting, because actually it's just saying about stay central and be ready for that chance.
They're fouling you rather than you fouling them.
Aye, true. I think the boy, well, I spoke to you before, Scott, about Lennon Muller. For me, Celtic should sign Lennon Muller. For me, it was a stick on it. I still think the boy will end up at Celtic, because I don't think he's played. It's over in Italy.
He started his first game last week, I think.
Oh, was it last week?
Somebody suggested. No, he never. He started. Maybe it was in the league. I know he started in the cup a few months ago. But he's no regular playing. And somebody suggested that we get him on loan for the rest of the season, and it might work. But again, though, you'd have to be guaranteeing him football, because you're talking about the World Cup. He'll be looking at the World Cup going, I want to kind of give him this squad.
He's got an outside chance. It's for too long now. Celtic have probably ignored the Scottish market. Probably looked McKenna as the first man in a while that we've sort of tapped into. But there's players now. Obviously, Motherwell are producing players. No, Hibs are doing better. Hearts are doing better. All these teams are, and it's not always Scottish boys, but there's boys in their teams who are performing at a good level and could come in and do a job. But for whatever reason, Celtic don't want to go and spend, as Jason says. They don't want to go and spend, because Hearts, Hibs, Motherwell, Aberdeen, as soon as Celtic will come chatting, they'll be like, right, it's 5 million. It's minimum 5. And it doesn't matter who the player is. It could be good, bad, it could be top notch, or it could be basic. He'll just look to try and get that 5 million. That's a sort of starting block. But
and
if the players,
the irony now, you saying that, when we should be looking at it the new, and I agree with you, but I have kind of been saying it for a good few years, but I think Scottish football are now justifiably pricing their players correctly. For years, for years, players have been getting took off of Scottish football team for peanuts, and I think like I was giving Aberdeen a bit of kudos, like they're honking, but see every penny they bring in, they're putting it back into the team. And Hearts are obviously showing a set of boys now. Hibs have, Mulligan's gone for nothing. How are you not even thinking that's a decent goal? Do you know what I mean? Shanklin was floating about for nothing at some point. Fuck me. You know what I mean?
I tell you, if you're looking at a midfielder, that Elliot, Watt, and Motherwell.
And they go on for Bucksy in the summer.
I know.
Some of the signings by Scottish teams this year have made it interesting.
He's only
but right, so somebody asked us though, do you think anybody will leave during the window, and if so, who? Hatati's the only one I can think of, but I don't know where, and I don't know how much. I just think Hatati's time's done at Celtic.
All right. If Nancy was still there, I could have seen McGregor going to Saudi.
Aye. But Martin O'Neill's clamped that today. Did you see the press conference?
No, I didn't.
Oh, did they?
They asked him. He says, he says, I saw that, but no, he can't be. He thinks he's a wonderful player. It would be a massive blow if Callum was to leave. So I can't see that happening. There's Yang.
Well, he was leaving anyway, wasn't he? You know, that was a done deal for him. Swansea, wasn't it? And Celtic.
No. They ended up the story I get told was that Swansea had him down sitting there, and then we told him to come back up the road. No, we never answered the phone. That was it. And then Birmingham, he was doing in Birmingham to sign for him, and we told him no. So twice in the one summer, we basically had him sitting in a boardroom ready to sign and to bring him back up the road. And they were another boy fucking like that. But
no.
I'd be amazed if players go. I think the only way that players will go is if Celtic spend sort of decent monies on a few players coming in, which I don't think Celtic will, because it's Martin O'Neill who's going to be there at the end of the season. So I think the majority of stuff will be younger boys who was part of the plan, or it'll be loans, or it'll be freebies.
What do you think, Brian? What's the Hampden Roar way? Players playing for clubs? How many clubs in a season? And is it a season or is it a calendar year?
It's a season. It's free. You can't play for. Is it more than two or is it free? Or you can't be rate.
That's what I'm fucking asking you.
I can't remember. It used to be.
Because I'm thinking, if you can get Balak Wisha alone, you get him out the door, because he's not got a future in this company.
Sure, it's free. Free's the most you can do.
I mean, if you're talking about somebody going, I'd be keeping Yang. I'd be telling Balak Wisha you can boost, because and it seems kind of harsh because he's garbage, man.
The thing with Balak Wisha, he'll be on a heavy wage, paid £5 million for him.
Nah, you're
he'll
right.
Be on a big wage, so if he goes to somebody, say a team in Scotland, take him or whatever,
we'll be Scotland. Back to fucking Belgium.
Well, you're going back to a Belgian team, we'll be paying 2/3 his wages, I bet you. Because they'll be like, no, we're not paying that.
I know. Aye. Right, okay, so whilst I've got you, Brian, boys in the wall here, what's going to happen this season then?
Jesus. What's going to happen this season? I think it will be very close right up until the end, but I think Celtic win it probably second last game of the season. I think there'll be points dropped across all three teams. I don't think there'll be a straight run. I think all three teams are vulnerable for different reasons. I think Rangers defensively look very vulnerable. Celtic, probably it's our goal scoring aspect that it will be vulnerable, but that could be sorted. So that makes you vulnerable, because if you're not scoring enough goals to win games. And I think Hearts eventually will get caught up with the pressure. And it will catch them at some point. It could be in the last 5 games, but if Celtic go and get a centre forward who can be sort of convincing in front of goals, I think they'll still win the league, but it'll be really close. Last game of season stuff.
Gee, but I was texting away a couple of cunt buns this week, and we're kind of just having a wee bit of party and stuff like that. And one of them said to me, "It's exciting though." Eh? No, I said, I suppose for Scottish football, it's pretty good to think that maybe we're going to go into the split with 4 teams who can win the league. I mean, that's kind of pushing it, but Motherwell do now look
decent,
part, you know what I mean? And it's kind of, for Scottish football, that's really exciting. I mean, if Hibs keep it going, you could have 5 that could win the league, get into the split. I mean, I don't think we've certainly never had fucking. Maybe just had 3, but we've certainly not had anywhere than that. And then he said to me, it's exciting. And I was like, I think exciting's overrated. Excitement's only excitement when you end up with a league title.
I don't think any team's won it losing 6 games in a season.
No, somebody, since the splits came in?
I think that's what they said,
I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, I need to check.
Maybe we've never won it losing 6 in a season.
Maybe. I'll do a bit of investigating and get you back to that. But, Jason, what do you think, mate? Mr. Positive.
Normally I'm hard, but I'm very undecided. All depends if we can get bodies in, and I've got no faith in the Celtic board. Yeah. I reckon they'll be budgeting to win the league. In this chest we had, obviously they'll be saying there's no Champions League money coming in for maybe 1-2 years, so we'll need that money. I don't think they'll be chucking money about, whereas I think they should. They should just go for it to win the league and get us into the Champions League. But I don't think they will. They'll be risk averse. Somebody said the day we're based an accountancy firm with a firm attached to it. So I really don't know. I'm not majorly confident. I mean, the thought that we've lost 6 games now, I think I would take the now if we could get through the league losing 8, because I think we'll still lose another couple out of the next 18 minimum. So then that puts us further back. I can't see us winning. I can't see us going winning 15 and drawing 3 or whatever. We could. I don't know. But I think it's imperative to get a new goalie in. He'll cost us. He's already cost us in big games, and he'll cost us again. And I don't think they'll address it. I think he'll be there at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think he will.
And I think that's a massive negative for us. But you never know. Martin O'Neill could produce his magic, and I'm confident we'll win tomorrow, and then we'll just need to take it from there. Then a few weeks we've got a big we've got Hearts away, and then we'll get them. We've got them away. Start of March.
Aberdeen away. Aberdeen away in February. Fucking hell, man.
We've got Aberdeen at home and away in 2 weeks. I think that I was looking at the fixtures, and we play the same team 2 weeks in a row.
Well, we play Aberdeen on the Wednesday night, so maybe you're right. Celtic fixtures. So, Falkirk, as you see, Falkirk this Wednesday. Which I've managed to pull a ticket for. Ooh.
I might have one myself, I don't know yet.
By the way, let us know, because I fucking named the troops. I've got briefs, so I might be fucking driving up.
Aye.
Auchinleck on Sunday. Bologna. Hearts is huge. Utrecht. And then we've got Falkirk on the 1st. Aberdeen on the 4th. A Wednesday night again. Fucking garbage. And then we've got the 11th of February, we're playing Livingston.
I haven't got 2 teams in a row. I don't know where I've seen that.
11th? So what's that? It's going to be Scottish Cup. Kelly Celtic away, which will be a toughie. Celtic Hibs. And then
the next 3 games, Hibs, Rangers and Motherwell.
Hibs,
Rangers and Motherwell, 3 tough games.
Hibs, Huns, Motherwell. And then Dundee United, Dundee and St Mirren finish. Aye, fuck.
But then it should end up. If you go into the last, if you go into after the split, and you're in sort of touching distance, you should have. Is it Rangers at home and Hearts at home?
We'll have Rangers at home and Hearts at home. Aye.
So you're saying
that could be massive.
Aye. So that's your best possible chat. That's your. If you wanted to. Your home games to be against the top 2, isn't it? Obviously, you'd still have to go to Motherwell, possibly Easter Road, which is usually a thing.
Celtic lost 6 in 2006-07 during the split.
They lost 6?
We lost 6 games and we won the league.
All right, won the league, all right.
6-7. So that'd have been Gordon Strachan's first, second season.
Right, okay. So we lost 6, but so we can't lose any more.
No, we can't lose any more. We're under pressure.
mean, you're looking at the games this weekend. Hibs at Hainty Motherwell, I think that's sold out. Say it's going to be the biggest crowd Easter Road. I think they've reduced the ticket prices, £5 or something like that for folk to get in.
Yes, I read that. Oh, in 2012-13, Michael Higton, top goal scorer in the season, Celtic lost 7 and won the league.
There you go. So they could lose one there. So that's a load of shite, whoever said that.
Right, somebody bullshitting you there, mate.
Is that not when the team across the water sort of disappeared?
Well.
The dial years. Seats a shame.
No, I don't think that was that yet. Nah.
Was that a year before it then?
I think that would have been Lennon's last eye.
Lennon's last. But who knows? I'm no confident at all. Normally I'm Mr. fucking confident, but I just can't see them strengthening. As you said, Brian, the only reason somebody would leave is if we'd spent big, but we punt them and then look, and then the fucking deals fall through and we end up cut short. Just if you look at the transfer windows over the past few years, they've been absolutely shocking. Ever since Ange left, it's been fucking abominable. But that's what it is.
We try to be positive there, and it's kind of fell away.
Just fell away. And I thought I was going to finish on I will still win the league, and you have just dragged it down, man. You have just gone.
It's the thing as well, the Green Brigade band and all that, and it's fucking, it's terrible. You got to Celtic Park tomorrow, a morgue, but it'll be good at the start. He Mark Manila will come in, and then once the game starts, unless the team start fucking firing on all cylinders, but it's that fucking morgue.
Right.
But hopefully, Neil is the boost.
See if you can work this out for me, right? In football, a player can generally be registered for a maximum of 3 clubs in a single season, July the 1st to June the 30th, but is only eligible to play in official matches for 2 of them, with some exceptions for overlapping seasons. Now, has Balakwisha played for that other mob?
I would have, because it was late.
See, because Celtic are absolute morons, man.
He signed the last day of the season. Near enough, wasn't it? Because it was after the qualifier. Wasn't it? It was after the qualifier.
It was late.
Why would you sign guys to play in the fucking the only qualifier you've got? Why would you do that?
So you're snooker. I knew it was 3 or 2. I knew it was one of them. So, but obviously, you can be registered to be 3, but you can only play with 2.
They played 5 games for them.
So that's when you usually find boys who know that they're going to leave in the summer. That's why they're constantly injured when the season starts to make sure they don't play. It's fine to be registered, but if I don't want to play.
Well, okay. So
hopefully the next time I come on, it'll be a more cheerier note. And
we'll be cheering, mate. We'll be tapping the league. We'll be dancing next week. Come on. Oh.
Fingers crossed.
Right, boys, I'll let you go. PML 5164 has said it's shite without Joe.
Keeps us all going. That was brilliant, Brian. Thanks for that. It was really enjoyable listening to you.
Jason, cheers for coming on, pal. Hope your team wins the weekend. And Brian, as Jason rightly says, thanks for coming on, mate. Really interesting, some of that shit earlier on. You bring a sensible voice to this nonsense.
I don't believe that for a second, mate. Anytime, I'd love to come on.
Okay, mate. Right, and everybody who's listening, everybody commented on this side, thank you very much, team. Hail, hail, Mona Celtic.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.